Once again, we are back on Egmont Sochki Tea Talk Train of Thought with a series of an episode with Mr. Tarundeep Singh Anand, Managing Director of Universal Business School, Karjat. He is a visionary leader in the global education, and it's a great episodes exclusively what we are having on Tea Talk, great insights for our target audience. Sir, we have covered the various aspects of your journey as far as the corporate world which is concerned, and also in terms of an academic. Now, if you see like current scenario, what we are seeing, there are the various challenges as far as education which is concerned. And many a times we feel like it's basically you are into an education doesn't mean learning for earning like. If we see the challenges which are there as part of an education which are concerned, we talk in terms of an quality of an students, the kind of a raw material what you get. And since various B schools have expanded left and right, the challenges becomes more in terms of maintaining that quality which is there. There are the faculty challenges which are there. There are the curriculum aspects which are there. So first we'll take with a rapid expansion of a B school. What do you think like? Are they in the position to cater to a demand which is required as far as the corporate world which is concerned?
So I think, my first point is in India, everything sells. But having said that, I think the customer, which is the student in this case, is becoming very, very assertive in terms of what he wants and what quality he or she is looking for. And therefore, many schools were, we have a brand A. Let me take that. Brand A is working great. Let me take that brand to B, C, D, E cities. I think that's where I have a problem with. There is a reason why there's only one Harvard. There's a reason why there's only one Wharton. There's a reason there's only one Oxford after 150 years. I don't think they're that stupid. There must be some reason. Now, what is that reason? That reason is very simple. If you have a faculty, right, like you, like me, I am teaching a subject. I'm giving my 100% on that subject. Now, and obviously I teach 2 or 3 subjects, so I'm putting my effort to make sure. Now you tell me, how are you able to replicate this guy with that experience of relevance in another city, in another part of the country? You cannot. The only way possibly you can is to say, okay, Tarun, aap 50% यहाँ करिए, 50% वहाँ जाइए. Now, besides the dissatisfaction, I might not want to, because you come to a profession, you've left the corporate world, right? You're not here every morning catching a flight to another city. Then the dissonance on the family, then just the stress of all of it, managing 2 different cohorts in 2 different cities, and everybody, what tends to happen is the best cohort comes to the main brand. So then you take a slightly lower quality in there. So now I, as a professor who's a rockstar professor of marketing or finance, I'm used to dealing with this rockstar cohort. Now you tell me to deal with the slightly lower or maybe whatever level. So I'm not going to enjoy it. And that's what's happened, right? So you then split me into 2. So these guys who are getting 100x of me is getting 50x. So इनको भी suffer. उनको मतलब 50 मिल रहा है, but 50 of a better variety. Now you split me into 3 cities. Now you split me into 4 cities. Welcome to the party, right? So that is because that experience, and that's also a function of, I always say that, to play, I have this saying which I use often. आपको क्रिकेट सीखना है. हम क्रिकेट के बारे में ज़्यादा बात कर रहे हैं, रग्बी के बारे में कम. आपको क्रिकेट सीखना है तो आपको 2 ऑप्शन है. एक सचिन तेंदुलकर से सिखाएगा आपको, एक है हर्षा भोगले. सचिन ने खेला है, हर्षा बहुत अच्छा बोलता है, पर हर्षा ने एक भी फर्स्ट क्लास क्रिकेट रणजी छोड़ो, इंटरनेशनल तो भूल जाओ, खेला नहीं है. राइट? हु वुड यू वांट टू बी ट्रेन्ड बाय? Answer is apparent. Because Sachin has played on every field in the world and faced the most cunning spinners and the most fast bowlers and managed to understand. So when you're facing that ball at that speed, you know what, right? Nobody who can read it or even see it can tell you what he has to tell. So that's the wow factor, right? So we try at Universal Business School, and that's our clear agenda, that we want the Sachins of the world to come in, who have been CEOs. What tends to happen in most academic institutions is you get people who work 2 years in industry, struggled, didn't enjoy it, come to academics because that's no targets, no pressure, no jhanjat, आराम से मैं पढ़ा लूंगा, correct कर लूंगा. So that model is what is being followed. If that model is being followed, you're not going to get the. So many campuses have actually folded because they can't keep up the quality standards of the brand. So then what they do is they dilute their brand. And that's what I think is wrong as such. So having said that, I still think there's space for 50 ISBs and 50 UBSs and great high quality institutions where there is innovative andragogy, pedagogy being introduced, where you can, excite the student into learning, build his curiosity. So if you have that with the right kind of backing, the right kind of, now the Birlas are coming into this space. Many industrialists have come where they've put it as a nice to have, because they had a CSR budget. They had to spend 200 crores. चलो एक business school खोल देते, हम ही recruit कर लेंगे. ये 30% effort से नहीं चलता है. You have to put your heart there. 100%. How much time is Mr. X, I'm not going to name it, going to spend at that school? Please tell me. Correct. Yeah, he spends 100x on his enterprise. Yeah, because that's how much time is he going to? He'll come once in a year to give you an award. Right. So that's where I think you need to figure out that this multiplication, needs to be thought through very significantly. India, there's a demand. So there is a need for high quality business education. But if you're going to just try and say, okay, I've made a brand now, let me go to 5 cities, 10 cities, then you're becoming a manufacturer. I think say again, it's like cookie cutting, cut chalo ek aur. It's like treating the kid as a product, out, in, out. Nahin. You need to spend a lot of time with that child. You need to mentor that child on a weekly basis. You have to put in a lot of heart and emotion into that child, which will then make him ready to face the world. Correct. I think it was an interesting conversation what I had with Dr. Srinivasan, also director of an Bajaj Institute. They're also great friend of mine. I see. Yeah. And even in Bajaj also, they have got an excellent practitioners who comes and shares their experience. I had interviewed Mr. Brand Guru Jagdeep Kapoor on TikTok. He is also associated with Bajaj Institute for more than 35 years. So all the top-notch corporates are part of an Bajaj. That's the reason we say like in first less than 15 or 20 days the placements gets over like. Yeah. So why is SP Jain managed to get into the top 3? And because they have kept their cohort at 240. I see. I would say AICT should say don't give seats beyond 300. Then you can make ये 800, 900, 1100 left and right. ये मुझे नहीं समझ आता. I think maybe it all starts with a leadership. When we talk in terms of if you're having a leadership which understands what we need to give it back to an corporate world, ready products which are there where they can go and perform. It can only happen if you have got a hardcore from the corporate world to come and share their experience. Like rightly as you have said, like we need to have Sachin to come and be part of that particular core which is there. So that makes more sense. Excellent, sir. Even apart from that, we have seen as far as the faculties who are part of an base school, I think they even some of the faculty they lack as the research part which are concerned in terms of a cultural literacy aspects which are concerned, which I think should be the core of an education like. Yeah, so absolutely agree. There is a lot of emphasis. So firstly, what we've learned in this game, you want to attract the best faculty. To attract the best faculty, you have to give them the best facilities. Again, treat them with respect and try and draw out whether their corporate experience or their academic experience, and then give them a free hand so that they can go and pursue their interests, right? Whether it's researching in a particular area or writing a case study in a particular area of their competence or their interest. And I think research is going to become a very, very important part where it is relevant research. We encourage our faculty to do research and case studies in the South Asian Asian continent. So we've written more than 15 case studies have been written on in Korea, in Vietnam, what's happening in Singapore, what's happening in Indonesia, in India, and so we say relevance, and it should be immediacy. So they've been for issues that have happened in the last 3 months, 6 months.
Correct.
Not 5 years. The world has changed
So
in 5
it's
years.
current issues which
Absolutely
are being captured
current.
like it's.
And that's where you give them that space. You will see them really enjoy this experience of learning and then putting it out.
Correct. And many a times what we have seen, the curriculum, apart from autonomous institute which are there, which they've got their own curriculum, and many a times the curriculum is followed by, which is set by a particular panel which is not changed for a longer period. So that also makes a lot of difference. Like if you don't change curriculum on regular basis, and which is not that frozen challenge.
Correct. So we try and do this not once a year, but even sometimes mid-year, saying okay, this subject doesn't industry saying knock it off, right? But bigger than the curriculum, of course, is there. I would like to tell you about how we see pedagogy, the delivery, right? I talked about experiential learning, but what is peda? Peda comes from the Greek word child. Child is peda. We are talking of adults when we talk of higher education, right? So instructional is no more in. Instructional is out.
Correct.
You were earlier a sage on stage. That is no more. Now you're a guide by the side. You have to facilitate the journey, right? And you have to treat the student as your equal. He or she is bringing their experiences, which they can share in the classroom, and therefore the learning is not just me to you, it's peer learning.
Correct.
Because the classroom is so rich.
Correct.
You get that learning, and that's what you would go to a Harvard for or a Wharton for. You get the learning from your peers.
From peer group.
Because they are coming with different perspectives, different industries, different experiences. The next is they're not result oriented, they are goal oriented, right? So how do you take that broader thing as a faculty and okay, how can I take them in this journey? So that's the other thing. Then it comes to ensuring that the process of learning, that each classroom can be totally different from the other classroom. Why? Because of the experiences put in, you as a teacher have to adapt to the style, the faculty has to adapt, and therefore, there should be emotion. Without emotion, learning is not complete, right? So how do you bring in emotion? So tomorrow's faculty need to be great actors. They need to go to drama school.
Correct.
They need to create that magic in the classroom and get that engagement, because engagement, the higher levels of engagement, and this all comes through experiential learning. So that's what we call it andragogy. We have changed our language and we've removed the word pedagogy because they're not kids. But today also in the best schools in the country, everybody says, my pedagogy. Boss, understand your population before you start using words that it. So अगर वो ही problem है, आपने अपने customer को ही नहीं समझा. Customer as in student. I don't like to call him customer because I always feel the customer is the corporate or the entrepreneurial startup. That's the eventual customer. This is a raw material. This is in the factory processed. And the actual customer is the corporate. Because if the corporate says fantastic kid, the cycle keeps going.
It's an excellent insights what's given by Mr. Tarundeep Singh Anand in terms of how to cope up with the challenges, and there's a way out. Like when we talk in terms of and how faculty needs to approach as far as learning part which are concerned, what kind of a curriculum you need to have to cope up with the corporate world. I think it's a very interesting insights what we are having. Keep on watching www.ttalk1 Go to our channel, like and subscribe as much as you can for next episode with Mr. Tarundeep Singh Anand. Stay tuned to T Talk 81 Thank you very much.